The story of Odysseus trying for 20 years to get home, longing for home, resonates with the life of every human being. As Maya Angelou says, we all long for home. And home doesn't mean a particular place or our family of origin. In fact, the family that we have, that we're born into, may be a dangerous place. It may be like that passage between Scylla and Charybdis. It may be a place where we're always between a rock and a hard place. So we long for home. What is home? What does it mean to be home? When I first came to Des Moines, there were two aspects of being welcomed that made me feel home. The first was in one of my stealth visits before my official start date, when I came on Sunday morning here and saw these smiling faces and heard those words of welcome. That was very important. And the other thing was, unexpectedly, having the opportunity to take a balloon ride above the cornfields of Iowa. And I think that for me, these two different things are a fitting expression of what is home to me. Because I experience home as both a haven where I am welcome and as a place of spiritual energy and excitement, a place where I can learn and grow and try new things and feel challenged. And if I fail, well, I'll learn from that. Home, in this sense, invites us in without a lot of questions, because there's this expectation that we're all on a journey, that we're all traveling to be more of who we are. Maya Angelou, when she says that ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned, that's the place, the acceptance we need to continue our inner journey to become who we are. Even in the best of homes, there's no guarantee of absolute peace. But home, true home, is a place where disagreement does not mean disrespect. It's a place where we can learn new things. It's a place where we can try on new identities because it's safe to experiment. Home is where it's safe to fail. Home is where everyone has the elbow room to belong. And I think in this sense, home is, in some ways, intention. If we're doing it right, home is a place where we intentionally and continuously not just welcome others, but act so that they feel they belong, so that they feel they belong. Belonging is important. In Brené Brown's new book, Brené Brown writes about spiritual development and inner growth. Her new book is all about belonging. It's called Braving the Wilderness, the quest for true belonging and the courage to stand alone. She delves deeply into that quote from Maya Angelou about the ache for home that lives in all of us. Just as Maya Angelou said, we do long for that in the sense of a place where we belong. But there's a deeper way of belonging that Angelou mentions as well. Having the courage and the groundedness to be authentically ourselves wherever we are, in the best sense of who we are and the self we can become. Maya Angelou says, I long, as does every other human being, to be at home wherever I find myself. And that's the challenge. But where do we learn to do this? How do we learn it? Especially if we've been hurt and invalidated and dismissed and diminished during our lives. Being home wherever I find myself. There are two important things here. First, we must be aware of the ways in which we hide or disguise our true selves so that we can fit in. It's impossible to have the sense of belonging everywhere if we're concealing who we are, maybe even concealing who we are from ourselves. And that's just about the feeling like we belong. There's more to it. It's important that we be authentically who we are. The authentic self is essential if we're to become fully the person we can be. Authenticity lets us unlock the power and the potential of the best self. Consider our world today. In so many places, we may find ourselves with people who reject us unless we agree with them unconditionally. This is the downward spiral that's visible everywhere in our personal, our social, and our political life, this expectation of instant agreement. On the personal scale, the pressure to agree so as to fit in increases that inner sense of not belonging. It increases the sense of isolation, of anxiety in case we're found out, of despair as to whether we can ever belong anywhere. On the public scale, the pressure to agree so as to fit in leads to polarization and the impossibility of thoughtful, nuanced conversations about important public issues. For our own growth and for the sake of the world, we must rise to meet the challenge of personal growth. We must encourage the inner self to be alive and expressive and fully present. So that's the first important thing. Without trying to fit in, we must learn to feel that we belong wherever we go. It's a personal spiritual challenge on which our happiness depends, and perhaps the fate of the world as well. The second important thing is this faith community, the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. This faith community has a vital role to play in our personal development in two ways. It's here that people feel the encouragement, the courage. The words have the same root, encouragement and courage. Here people find the courage to persist in the quest to belong everywhere as our authentic selves. Here we can find emotional support, friendship, and programs like Wellspring and Soul Matters that are designed to help people grow. And also, it's here that people we don't yet know may come in hopes of finding a home that welcomes them as they are. There are people who hope that here, at last, they can be who they are and not be questioned or dismissed or disrespected. And that's our congregational challenge. We're called to create a beloved community that truly welcomes people into a life of meaning and purpose. We're called to be a community that truly welcomes everyone. And now I have to say a word about Velcro. So, when I was living in St. Paul, Minnesota, it was a new place to me. A lot of people I knew had been there for a long time, and they had many connections of family and friends. And I discovered that it was hard to form friendships because people were already in friendships. unlike the East Coast, for example, Washington, D.C., where people are fairly transient. And so there were always lots of people looking for new friendships and willing to be in relationship with a newcomer. And so I developed this theory, which has not been scientifically tested, that people in relationship are kind of like Velcro. You know, one side has the loops and the other side has the little hooks, and when they find each other, they stick. And they don't necessarily open up again so that somebody else can be in relationship. And so, to make this faith community the way we want it to be, the welcoming place where everyone can be at home here, we must not be like Velcro. We must intentionally welcome people into belonging, intentionally open ourselves into new relationships, and remain open to new ways that new people bring, so that when we encounter a different perspective, intentionally and consciously treat it as interesting, be curious and warm, seek to learn. This is the open heart put into action. Home, the home we long for, the belonging we long for, is something we can have wherever we go if we work on learning to be that way. And here in this community, we have a place that seeks to encourage us and everyone to learn that sense of belonging wherever we are, to feel at home wherever we go, and to make others feel the same. And you know, if home is where people hug you when you need a hug, and they don't just hug you, they fold you into their arms so you can feel all the love in the universe flowing into your being, we can do that too. Home is wherever we find that kind of welcome. Home is wherever we are when we offer that kind of welcome. And if we offer that love to everyone, including ourselves, then home is here and here. Blessed be.